What's up, music producer?
What's up?
I was waiting to see if Ray would jump the gun on it.
I didn't.
How are y'all doing?
What up? What up?
Hopefully all are doing good. Ford
Yes.
producer back at it.
What up?
This episode, we're going to talk about the impact of music on culture. Or, as Ray has been talking about, is it really the culture that impacts the music?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Discuss.
What is that? Uno reverse card?
That's right.
But this is our topic, the impact of music on culture. Hopefully all are doing good. Ray looks like he's doing good.
Yes.
He's excited to be hitting the sound effects for
That's
you all.
right.
I'm excited to be here listening to Ray hit the sound effects. But hopefully y'all are doing great out there. Before we jump in, we want to let you all know about Industry Standard Productions, forwardproducer.com/ISP.
There you go.
Right there on the screen. Go check it out. Completely free.
Yep.
Level up your music production game. Our free gift to you. Go check it out.
Yes.
So without further ado, we have industry news
Industry.
with Ray Dog. This isn't the one from last week, 3.0. This is a whole different one.
That's right. Yeah. It's been in the news quite a bit. But, Ed Sheeran's case, his copyright law case, the who was it? The family of the co-writer of Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On was suing Ed for what was I forgot the name of his song.
Like Progression or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So what they were claiming was that it was copyright infringement, but what the defense team was able to really show was that, hey, this is not. Yes, there's some similarities in the chord progression, but these are common building blocks of music.
Thinking Out Loud.
Exactly. Oh, that's the name of the song, right?
Yeah. Ed's song is Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah, Thinking Out Loud. And when you play them together, if you take the vocal out, there might be some commonality. But the minute you put the lyric was not the same, obviously. The melody was not the same,
Was
obviously.
the key the same?
No, not even the same key.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Yeah, for sure. So he was acquitted. Thank God. I'm so glad he won because it was a big win for creativity and musicians because you know what? I heard it that when I was reading the article, this kind of example that they give, it's like you can't own the alphabet, right?
Right.
You can't own the individual letters of the alphabet. Those are the things that make up words, and then words make up meaning, right? And communication. Well, in this case, that's what they really showed, that all Ed was using were the building blocks, aka the alphabet.
Yeah.
And it happened to be,
progression.
and then another music expert for the defense showed that there was like 100 and something songs that had the exact same chord progression.
There's probably more than that.
Exactly. Yeah, way more than that. So to me, it was a big win, not just for Ed, but for music out there, because you can't own the music, the building blocks of music. You just can't.
Ed said he was going to quit, right?
Yep. He said if he would have lost, he would have quit. And I'm really glad he didn't. He's a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah, those people are just trying to do some money grab.
That's what I think.
They went against Pharrell, right?
Yeah, Pharrell and Robin Thicke for Blurred Lines.
And they won that.
Right. And I don't think they should have, because in that one specifically, it was really a beat. It's like
But they also did the hey, hey, hey. I think that's part of it too.
Oh, really?
That one's way closer than Ed Sheeran's for sure.
Okay.
Which I think that's probably why they lost, because it was pretty dang close.
Yeah, but I think if the Ed Sheeran case would have gotten settled before that one, I think they could have won. Because I really believe that the Blurred Lines one, it was building blocks of music to me. Like, you cannot, I mean, how can you copyright a beat? I mean, how can you copyright a beat now?
Man, if you put that Michael Jackson beat out there.
Oh, I know.
And it's just like, how many times that's the first drum beat you ever learned?
Oh, right, exactly.
Like, is that copywritten because you're not allowed to play it?
Yeah, I felt that the jury got it wrong on that one. But I'm so happy that this one turned out the way, because you can't own the alphabet. You can't own the building blocks of music.
Music copyright is so crazy too. It's just like people could come after you for nothing.
Because there's a lot, like I've said, several times on this podcast. If the music business was a house, publishing would be the foundation. Everything goes down to the publishing.
Yeah, people just, if they've
That's where all
done it
the money
before
is.
and they try to win and they did win, it
Yeah.
makes sense that they would go after more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it's a bit of a stretch. You're playing different keys, different progression, or same progression probably.
Right.
Like a 1, 4, 6, 5 or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad now that set some precedents. So maybe future lawsuits can be squashed, especially if it's around the same type of thing. And it's so funny to hear non-music people try to describe it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's funny.
it crescendos and it like they don't have any
You're like,
clue
you're
what
not a
they're
music
talking
person.
about. No,
You're a lawyer.
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I
Shut up and
saw
walk.
there was a case with Flame, I think his name was, and he sued Katy Perry's team, or not Katy Perry directly, because I don't think she wrote the melody, but it's like the Dark Horse song. You can find it online, but
Yeah.
he won because that little he won that
Oh my God.
because it's exactly the same, but it's like what, 6 sounds that are generated from a keyboard.
Exactly. Well, it would be the sound and the part.
Yeah, I guess the melody. I guess it's like the melody phrase is exactly the same as what it was,
Yeah.
as opposed to a drum loop that.
It's amazing.
It's
dude.
crazy business,
I know.
man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But yeah, that's industry news.
It's awesome.
Thanks, Ray Dog.
No problem.
Ed Sheeran's still going to be in it.
Thank God.
Thank God. So let's jump over to the top 3 pieces of gear you cannot live without,
All right, you go first.
excluding a computer.
All right, you go first.
We're going top to bottom, or number 3 up to number 1.
Sure, let's do that.
Let's see. Number 3. I didn't really think it through. I just threw it out there. So let's see. Number 3. I would go with.
Piece of gear.
I would go with my in-ears.
Okay.
I mix a lot of my in-ears.
Okay.
That actually may be a 2, but we both know what our number 1 is. No, your number 1 is actually different than mine. This is excluding a computer.
Yeah.
So I'd say in-ears. I like mixing on in-ears. I don't.
So
really
that's
mix
number
much on-
3. So what's your number 2?
Shoot, I don't know. Your turn. Number 3.
All right, number 3 would have to be. All right, so if I'm producing music, my gear, I would think it would have to be my Dynaudios or my speakers.
Your actual speakers.
Yeah, the actual speakers.
Yeah, you're going a little different route. than me.
Either Dynaudios or Footprints is what is number 3 for me.
This is like the same question of like if your house is burning down, what 3 pieces of gear are you gonna grab? So I'm gonna be like, raising.
I'll be walking out.
ripping them out of the wall.
Hurry, quick! We got
What
time to
about the
get 2
kids?
more.
They can fend for themselves.
I gotta make music.
I gotta. I gotta make music.
I gotta.
Oh man.
We can have more kids. That's horrible. I'm
Oh,
kidding.
Lord
Kidding, y'all.
All right, my number 2.
It was your number 2.
Let me think. So I said in ears. Number 2 would be for producer. I would go a microphone.
Okay.
A mic and a preamp. Does that count? That's kind of cheating, isn't it?
No, but it's similar. It's similar to mine.
Yeah, you need a mic and a preamp for to record vocals.
Yeah.
You could get, all right, let's say the USB powered microphone because it has a preamp built in.
Okay. All right. My
It's not
number.
necessarily just one piece of equipment, but
Yeah. My number 2 would be my mic pre's. My Neve mic pre's.
not the mic.
Not the mic, because I feel like I can get another mic. Like, even if I had a El Cheapo Audio Technica 4045 or something like that.
We should have rephrased this to 3 pieces of gear if you're stranded on a desert island.
Oh, no. I like the house burning now.
Because you can
What do
leave
you-
and
what
go
do
get
you
a
grab?
mic.
Right. Exactly.
I can still go get a mic.
I can go get a mic.
No, we're on a deserted island.
Oh.
You got nothing. They can only airdrop 3 pieces of equipment to your island.
Well, you would have to have a microphone then. You would have to.
That's what I'm saying, like the mic and the preamp.
Yeah.
We could agree on that.
There you go. Okay.
You could get the USB action that has the little thing built in.
Right. I said, what's your number one?
So you're going mic and preamp too?
Yeah.
And you're going speakers with no power on the deserted island?
Well,
it gets all technical.
What are you going to do with the in-ears?
I'm plugging into my battery-powered, solar-powered computer.
Well, that should power my dying audios.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, man. This is getting out of control. Let's see. We're on number one?
Yeah, number one.
So I did in-ears. I did mic/preamp. My number one would probably be, I'm probably going a guitar.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like riding on a guitar.
Nice.
Not a piano because it's a little too heavy
Nice.
to try to leave out of a burning building onto the desert island.
All
That'd
right.
be a little hard. So
Well, I know we said excluding the computer, but my number one would be Logic.
right.
Like I'd even forego Pro Tools. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's say that you're leaving your burning house to your deserted island, and you have a backpack, and your laptop's right in there with Logic. What would your number one be?
Oh, okay. Ooh.
It's like equipment you would take. You're like, man, I got to keep producing music, so I need this.
Well, I would have to have a controller.
You want to go a little keyboard?
Yeah, piano, controller, something like that. I would have to.
You're very similar to me.
Yeah.
Just a little different.
Yeah.
I'm going
Well, that's
headphones, mic, and preamp, and a guitar. You're going huge speakers,
Yeah.
a mic and preamp, and a controller or piano.
That's right.
And there we go.
And I could do music.
Yeah, get it knocked out.
I could, like, if I'm on a desert island, I could mic up the coconuts.
Yeah, you could have all
Create
sorts of
some beats.
percussion out there.
That's right. The
A
ocean.
little shaker with seashells or something like that.
Right, exactly. That's hilarious. I like the burning building though. That's the thing.
Yeah, because you could leave and
Oh
go
my
to Guitar
God.
Center.
You got 5 minutes. You can only pull 3 gear pieces.
Leave the kids. Actually, kids, pick up this heavy speaker right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going that stuff because I usually use piano roll. When I built stuff, like
Right.
music, I just go piano roll.
That's so hard for me. And it's frustrating.
It's hard to
for me.
if you're doing like if you need to adjust velocity for every note to make it more dynamic. But if you're just building straight,
Yeah. So, question: is guitar for you a second instrument or a primary?
primary.
Oh, I didn't know that. So drums are secondary for you?
Drums and guitar are about equal for me.
Okay. Yeah, my primary is drums. My secondary is piano or keys.
Yeah, you can't really do too much writing on drums.
Exactly.
Unless, don't tell Ed Sheeran that in that lawsuit they did, apparently.
Exactly.
Oh, not Ed Sheeran, Pharrell and,
That's right.
yeah, drum loop.
Exactly.
Those are our top 3 pieces of gear if we ever went through our house burning down onto a desert island. That's what we would do, and that's what we would take.
That's right.
I think we would knock it out still. Not much would change.
So I guess you could say if you're on a desert island and your house that's on that island's on fire.
Sure. They understand what we're saying. We're trying to limit ourselves to see what we could get away with production-wise.
Right.
Actually, top 3 that's a lot of stuff.
I know. That's good.
Your audio when you're singing on the mic will be full of waves, apparently.
Right, exactly.
Not the plugins, the actual waves.
Right. Exactly.
Well, let's jump into the main portion of the talk. Does
All right.
culture, or does, I almost gave away what you were going to talk about, the
Oh.
impact of music on culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we should kick it off and start off with what you were talking about. Does culture affect music, or does music affect culture? What are your thoughts, Ray?
Man, just everything I'm seeing and kind of like as I look kind of throughout music history, typically, I'm not saying always, but typically it's the culture. Well, the music is a reflection of culture, not really the other way around. Right? So, case in point, would there be a Woodstock, which is like the premier music event of the 60s? It's like everything that was happening in the 60s, that event kind of
The pinnacle of it all.
yeah, encapsulated it all. Would there be a Woodstock if there was no hippie? You know, would there be a Woodstock if there was no sexual revolution? Right? So things that were happening in the culture, I think Woodstock was a byproduct, kind of a reflection of what was going on in the world. You know, Vietnam War was going on. I mean, all that stuff was happening. outside of music. So I think the artists, saw those things happening, then they wrote songs
From that
based
place.
on, because that's their experience. So I think art comes out of experience. I'm not sure if art affects experience.
I think that could go both ways.
Yeah. So yeah.
Like it could be exactly what you're saying is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if you think about, let's say, make it easy, people that are young
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really have like their own identity and culture and blah blah blah,
They'll start making it.
but they start getting it developed based off of listening to so and so's
Oh,
music,
That's
and
interesting.
they could follow them. Well, nowadays they could follow them. And they can see,
That's-
or they watch them on TV about like what are they wearing, how are they acting, how are they treating others, what sort of stuff are they doing,
Yeah.
and now it's them. Like you see it with you see with teenagers all the time.
Yeah. They're copying.
It's like you're copying exactly. You're
That's
trying to do
actually-
exactly what this person's doing, which I did it when I was a teenager. So I didn't necessarily develop that culture, and then the music came out.
That's
I
interesting.
was influenced.
That's actually a good
So
argument.
it probably goes both ways.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Or it can.
It can go both ways. Yeah, I think
Right.
if you think about how broad music can reach and affect
Uh-huh.
culture,
Mm-hmm.
I would venture to say it'd be more so impactful that way as opposed to people writing from a place of culture.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like, you think about like the hip hop movement birthed out of where it was, and the rock movement birthed out where it was, and the pop, whatever, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
They all had their what's it called, their spawn era, and where they were birthed from. But I think it's impacting way more than the actual culture developing the music. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I could totally see circumstances, experiences, culture, that is happening. You mentioned hip hop. A lot of that was actually grew out of, experiences that those artists were having, police brutality, gangs, all that stuff. And then out of that heart rose this music and all that. And you're right, but the folks that didn't experience that, but were younger, coming up as these artists, hip hop artists, are telling their stories and telling their experiences, wearing the clothes that they're wearing, all of it, I can see
The influence on
how that can influence then the people coming behind them.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually interesting.
When you think about like the hip hop now, it's becoming pop music now, or
Correct.
popular.
Yeah, and eventually any music that's on the fringe usually makes its way to become the pop.
Yeah.
And there's no question. I think hip hop has been pop for the last 15, 20 years probably.
Yeah, if you just
Maybe
look
even
around,
more.
and you don't have to look far to see how influential hip hop culture is on our American society, but also
The
it's going
world.
it's going outside of that
It's-
as well.
For sure.
And I think the same thing was true with when rock started coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When rock started popping off like that, that was the same thing. You just
And
look
then
around.
then if you take it further, let's say because hip hop, because we're talking about it, its culture is going around the world. I mean, I could see how then those mindsets and those thoughts that's within that music could penetrate, and then let's say, I don't know, it starts changing other countries, it starts changing the culture of other countries and all that, and in that way music would be affecting culture directly.
when you got the
for
power
sure.
of the internet, like where the entire world's connected.
Yeah.
But then you also have people that don't necessarily grow up in the projects or in the gang violence, and they are rappers or whatever. And then you got people that are coming at them like, you didn't really live what you're talking about. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or like,
Right.
is this all a front? Are you just doing it to make money or blah, 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 because they've gone viral and they're popular. And then it's like, well, you weren't raised authentically to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that situation too.
Right.
Which that's a big deal too, because apparently hip hop influenced those people
Mm-hmm.
to the point that they are rapping and singing or whatever they're doing.
Right.
So
That's
that's crazy. I think it goes both ways.
Yep, I can definitely see that.
There wouldn't be the music without the circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
and there wouldn't be people's current circumstances without the music influencing them too.
Right.
Maybe it's a little cycle.
Yep. It can be. That's amazing. That's good.
Yeah, we talked about Woodstock, hip hop culture.
Mm-hmm.
You
rock
also-
and roll, and you know Elvis, and you know back in the day when rock and roll was coming up.
Mhm.
You know all that.
What's that? Rockabilly too,
Mm-hmm.
like swing. I guess.
Yeah,
it is.
that's kind of where it started coming.
Is that around the same time.
Yeah.
And we also talked about before we jumped on. We talked about like seasons of life too. Like if you look back, I could look back in my life and I could hear certain music where it's like it'll take me back in my mind to that season that I lived in.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember being here. I remember this sort of smell. I remember
Yep.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge influence about music that influences directly.
Yeah, it's amazing how just a few bars of a song can literally take your mind right back to where you were when you first heard it.
And to get nerdy, that's your hippocampus.
Ooh, come on now.
What y'all know about hippocampus?
Come on.
It's a part of your brain that actually deals, I believe, with memory. I could be wrong, but it's
Memories.
there's a video online about this old dude. I think he has dementia,
Yeah.
and they're talking to him. They're like blah blah blah. They're just talking to him, and he's like out of it. He's just sitting there like this. He's like,
Then
yeah,
they'll play a song.
yeah, and then they put headphones on him, and he starts.
Oh wow.
And he
that's
comes
amazing.
alive, and they take the headphones off, and they're talking to him. And they're like, "Hey, what's up, sir?" And he's like, "Oh man, you know, I'm just hanging out, blah blah blah." And he's just talking like
Because he thinks he's there.
that something activated in his brain that took him back to that time, and it woke up his brain.
That's
through music.
amazing.
Yeah, the hippocampus, powerful.
Yeah. That's powerful.
That's huge. I think because like it works on us about having seasons of your life where play a little something, and you're like, ooh, and you're just like sucked back into that time.
Right.
It's like you just get sucked into your chair,
I know that it's instant. It's instant.
and you
Like
just start
smells
singing
do the same thing.
Smell,
I mean,
yeah.
all that stuff. Like I walked in my own house the other day, and there was what do you call it? Yeah, we were doing a roast in the crock pot, and it smells up the whole house. Man, I was walked in. It's like, man, this smells like my grandmother's house.
it. Oh wow, in your own house.
Yeah, in my own
Wow,
house.
that's wild.
So then my kids are going to remember that
Mm-hmm.
smell.
That's your
You know
house.
what I mean? Right, at my house, and then they'll remember. That'll be a good memory.
Or
for
what
them.
about like some you got some Christmas special items that you cook around Christmas and
That's
Thanksgiving,
right.
and that's like boom, and your brain's like, oh, I remember
Yeah.
when I was blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Yep. I think the
That's
same
cool.
thing with music impacts you.
absolutely.
So I have a story which is very related to all of this about being impacted on the culture. So it's whenever I started beat making.
Yeah.
So I actually started making like electronic music.
Yep.
And I was using FL Studio. And I was,
EDM.
yeah, I was just making stuff I thought sounded cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I opened a studio in the garage, which I talked about before.
Yep.
And a lot of rappers came because my price was low.
Right.
And somehow I got indexed well in the area. I don't know. It just did.
Yep.
So a lot of rappers came through, and they all brought beats, and I had to learn how to do rap, how to produce rap music on the fly.
Okay.
Because at first it was just like
So
I'll
you were
record.
like they brought the beat, and then you just had to record their vocal over it.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Or they would have me download it off of YouTube.
The beat.
Yes, I didn't know nothing about
Speaking of Ed
copyright,
Sheeran.
publishing. None of these people blew up to the point that it was like even an issue.
Thank God.
I didn't even know then either. I was
But
just like, cool.
you didn't take credit for the beat, though, right?
Heck no.
Right.
I was just like, I just do it. And
Right.
I recorded your vocal.
Just
on
give me
top
the
of
money
it.
and go.
Exactly. So I got to the point that they would always ask me, "Hey, do you have beats? Do you have any beats I could rap on?" And I was like, "No, but I could get some."
Yeah.
And I began to listen about just beats websites that they were selling and blah blah blah, and I just
Yeah.
figure out how to make hip hop beats over and over because the people demanded it. They're like, every rapper came in, "Hey, you got beats? Hey, you got blah blah blah." And I'd be like, "No." So I just started making beats,
Yeah.
day and night, blah 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 blah.
That's a great way to learn, man.
It was. If I would do it different, if I
And
would do it
you're
all over
making
again.
money while you're doing it.
Right. I would do it all over again a little differently because I was a newlywed.
Yeah.
So I was just so immersed in it. Like I neglected my wife and sometimes.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
just making beats when I should have like, all right, this time is done making beats. Time to spend time with my spouse.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So it was like that culture was demanding on me to create hip hop music.
yeah.
And that's how I got into it. It's like
Yeah. That's
they
good.
asked for beats. I was like, okay, I could do
And
it.
now that's a skill you've learned.
Skill I've learned, and I could even
You can
charge
make
a lot off of
You
it.
can probably make a beat for us right now.
Boom, bap. I can make a beat pretty quick.
Yeah.
But like one of my biggest placements, one of my biggest claims to fame in music is come from that season of my life of making beats and grinding and hustling and going out there.
And honestly, that's how you learn, because, you know, even in mixing, what they tell you to do, even to this day, all the professional guys, they have what's called a reference. Mm-hmm. So the artist or company or whatever say, hey, we want it to sound like this song. Mm-hmm. And then they'll actually put, in fact, I try to do that. They'll put the reference track in Pro Tools or wherever they're mixing, and then A/B. And that's exactly what you did. Like, you listened to a whole bunch of things and just mimicked it, copied. Mm-hmm. And now it's a skill that you have that you don't have to do that anymore.
You don't have to reference.
You can just make it.
Reference, that's some big game that you're spitting for those of y'all that didn't understand what he's saying.
Yes.
Get you some references, not to copy verbatim, because you'll end up in court like Ed Sheeran and all these guys. So I don't think they did that, but they were influenced by it, probably.
Of course,
maybe.
Right.
Yeah, reference it. Something that's really good is Ozone, Isotope Ozone mastering plugin. If you're able to master the mastering plugin, would be nice, but it also has a little reference section.
Yeah.
And you can actually do your masters based off that reference.
That's cool.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, you hit me up to that.
It's good. It's a good
a few months
plugin.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, and it's what I usually do if I'm doing any work for people, I'll ask them, send me some references.
Right. So now what I'm trying to do is go through just different, not genres, but different types, especially on the programming side, to like match snares, match kick drums, so I can learn, because I have a tendency to kind of just do my own thing, and then sometimes it won't sound. Like, people might say, well, that doesn't sound right. Well, but it's just different than what you're used to hearing. So I'm trying to now to get my productions more what people are used to hearing.
That's a bit of a dilemma too when you think about music impacting culture.
Yeah.
Your clients now are listening to all this stuff that they hear online that's predominant.
Yeah.
You can make something similar to it, but maybe you didn't use the exact sounds and samples.
Right.
And they're listening to like, oh, it's missing something.
Right, exactly. And
it's like, bro, no, this is new music.
I'm trying to be creative and do something different.
And they're not having it because they've been influenced by all this other music.
Right, but the thing is, if you don't stick out, you just you get swept up by all the notes.
Everyone else is doing the same thing.
And just like we talked about in the last podcast, 100,000 tracks are being uploaded to the streaming services every day.
Most of them sound the same, or they sound like trash.
And so you, in order to go through that much noise, dude, that's 500,000 in a 5-day work week. You know, you've got to peek through the noise, and you're not going to do it unless you sound different.
That's very true. Put them on some game, Ray Dog.
I mean, you're right. I like your word balance. Right, but you gotta be creative. You gotta do something different.
That's a crazy point too, is because
we didn't mean to talk about all this, y'all.
It's side note, but it's powerful.
Right.
You think about, like, there's some creativity that's ahead of its time.
Yes.
And it doesn't catch because it's too far ahead of its time.
Correct.
So you got to be careful with that too.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Don't be overly creative. Be a good balance.
Exactly.
Which means that's very vague and don't know how to describe that exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's a sweet. We'd be billionaires if we had that figured out.
We knew exactly how to do that. Yeah.
We'd be billionaires.
Put it in your ear to let you be conscious of it.
Right. Exactly. That's similar.
But before we jump off, make sure you go check out Industry Standard Productions, forwardproducer.com/ISP, completely free. Go check it out. Hopefully it helps you. We believe it will.
Because it's been helping a lot of people so far.
Yep. So go check it out. Enjoy it. Let us know what y'all think about it.
Yes.
And if y'all could, it would mean a lot if you could like, share, comment, rate, subscribe, give us some feedback, some comments. We talked about haters last time. We don't really need the hate. But if you're on there, it is.
But go ahead.
Go ahead. We'll take it. We'll turn the other cheek.
That's right.
But yeah, go check it out. The free course. Also, like, share, comment, rate, subscribe, blah, 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 all that stuff. That would help us out a lot.
Yes.
A lot. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully you got some value out of this. And we will see you all next time.
Peace.
I won't remember the pain. I won't remember the pain. I'm done with the wish. I'm done with the talk. This life is too short.